You know the funniest thing about Europe is?
What?
It's the little differences. I mean, they got the same shit over there that they got here, but it's just there. It's a little different.
All right, hey, welcome to another edition of JTJU, where we all try to be just a little better at the game of Clash of Clans. And in this case, I've got another episode of Little Differences. We're going to take a look once again at a Town Hall 9, different one, hitting up into an entry-level Town Hall 10 and delivering a 3-star after, I think in this case, 4 attacks against the base. It's slowly building up to the right combination of steps and mix. The final result ended up being a queen dive followed by a Loon phase, which then a backside Loon phase closed out the deal. So, enough said. Let's take a look at how it evolved. Okay, so here's the base. A little bit of clouds overcast, as the weatherman says. But this is the first attack. It's a scout, basically showing that the hounds in the CC doesn't become a real relevant factor for the subsequent attacks because they end up being queen dives that in the walk pathing take care of the CC. And then the hound action, because most of the attacks after that were air. Granted, they'll have a snipe action component to it, but most were air. That too didn't really matter. But something you want to do. You'll notice the base really isn't that leveled. The core of the base that really makes it difficult for a Town Hall 9 to hit up into is the fact that both eye towers are maxed and on multi. So the typical attacks of Town Hall 9, which involve usually mass of units, struggle against the multi settings. But when we move into the first attack from a Town Hall 9 that's actually trying to do something to it, the queen dive walk is the first thing that becomes clear. I guess let me sketch out what all the attacks are going to kind of flow with. There's going to be a walk component that kind of moves this way and dives through. And then all the attacks are then trying to work something to enable this backside. What ends up being the final version is going to be a Loon attack from this side after the queen walk, and then a Loon attack from this side, and then a Loon attack, a hound followed by some Loons to follow in. But we also, in this case with Yip, we'll keep going here. Yip actually will show you the walk to begin with, and it shows you a couple questions. And I won't dive into the queen walk model till the next attack. But you can see, even though he lost his wall breakers, he still was able to bust in manually. And I don't know if that's a major factor. We'll have to look at timing on the following attacks that all use wall breakers to get through. I guess they didn't like or they weren't afraid of the fact that he failed. They kept at it anyway. But the weird thing that I saw with his attack was, that this bend, usually for queen walks, is very concerning. It's difficult to typically make the corner. And here you can see he's trying to do the usual encircle and then converge and overwhelm the mid. But when you've got 2 multis fired up in mid, and plus the Tesla farm there, you're really not going to make much headway. So, interesting attack. The queen dive is a component that actually came through as clearly being something to continue. So then we'll move into Woo Boy's attack, and let me make sure. Yeah. So on Woo Boy's attack, he's actually going to try to do Dragoon on it. I guess his thinking was, let's pause for a second. Now in his case, what he's thinking is he saw the queen walk function pretty well, and then the king action on the backside, basically then exposing a pretty direct line into the base, right? So he's going to try to come in from this direction with dragons, the theory being a high health unit against multi is the right strategy, and then the high health units will push through. What ends up happening though is that the mid quarters is too strong. But let's again watch the walk. Now, as we go, let's stop though, and let's look at the walk model, because I mentioned a couple. Yeah, here it is. So here's the walk model of what you're going to see. I think this is Loon's walk, and these are the shooting positions again. Yellow are shooting positions. Red are from those positions the letters correspond now. So A is shooting A, B is shooting B. But anyway, you'll notice as it moves through, the reason why I modeled it, took the time to model, is because I was curious on it made that corner. How did it make the corner? What did the base defense give it that the base defender, if he would have tweaked the base a little bit, would have choked that off and forced the queen to dive, which would have killed her, right? Because then she would have came in range of this eye tower. If he could have forced a queen dive push into middle sooner, even at the corner, she would have gotten smoked. But there was an interesting thing that happened before that. These blue bars are where exceptions occurred. The first thing is he came in from this A position, right? And the biggest risk to start is that you don't want the queen to wander this way. And notice as he gets to the E shooting position, he has two options. If you took out your ruler and measured, he has this. And notice E would be everything. E and lower is gone. So he has two options. He has this elixir collector and this collector in the storage. And these lines are actually the same length. It's one of those visual tricks. But they're both the same length. All I did was rotate the shape. And you'll see that this guy is way closer in terms of line of flight, or shot line, than the elixir storage. But the queen, as you see with the yellow dots, moves to the elixir storage, and then at position F, at that point, she has other shots, a slight move forward, position G, and then she takes out, and then, and so on, pulls through. But it's interesting that the theory that you might take with queen walk from this is that if the queen has two targets viable within detection range, and one is closer by line of shot, it won't actually do that all the time. What I think it's factoring in is walk distance, because notice how this walk, to get her into shoot position, I think she'd have to go like here, and in this one she really didn't have to. Well, she was here, so to get into shoot position she had to. Was she E? No, she was there. She was already there. So she was there looking at stuff, and she had to decide, was she going to walk to F, or was she going to walk down and over, right? And I think that walk distance is what's factoring into the decision of next target, but we'll continue to confirm that to make sure. But once she gets in, the other interesting thing that happened is, you notice if you watch this attack, is when she gets to this position O, she targets. It's in range, right? She targets, but she shoots from right here, and I don't know if that's a graphical glitch or what. I mean, she had a valid shooting position. She could have walked to. It wasn't like it was an impossible move, and it doesn't factor into later on in terms of the pull through around the corner. But it's just an interesting glitch in terms of, clearly this is the attack line distance. Again, it's, trust me, it's 5, but it can't, clearly it's not reaching. It would have to be to here to reach the inside line of the inside tile set of the ADs, typically where I'm looking, and it didn't make it. She would have had to get to the star to get that bar would have reached from that position. So weird, but didn't matter. But to the real question of the pathing, which is, how the hell did they make the corner? It's this man right here. As you get into the Q position is where, or is that P? No, it's Q. Q position takes out the cannon, and then also, that's supposed to be a Q, I think. Or no, the P already took it out. So the Q position is the last guy. It moves up, takes out Q, and then it's in range of R. And the R is what pulls it into this position, which then gives it S, right, to here. So if the base designer had just moved this building, at this point, the queen would have moved in and gotten smoked, right? She would have shot into the wall and been too early. So it's interesting, to look at when granted, we're looking at this in terms of, wow, Town Hall 9 hit up for 3, but from a base design perspective, one small change really would have mitigated this whole walk action. And so as you get hit by queen walks, you can model your own base and say, how do I shift these buildings to force the queen into a position she doesn't want to be into? You can see the pull points and stuff when you do a detailed model like this. But anyway, enough said on that. Let's keep going. And you can watch her do the wonky, I'm going to shoot the AD from God knows where. Right there. But she keeps going around, gets the cannon, then Q, and then, hey, I'm going to take care of the hound here while she's harassing me, and boom, bada bing, everything's gone. And we're through. So far, that's been all at high speed, so now I'm slowing it back down to regular speed, because here comes the dragons. I mean, you're going to use the king and queen off of it, but again, the core is that the right theory, right? I'm going to overwhelm the multis, but the factor of the base that wasn't, considered or couldn't be modeled, I guess, or hindsight is always 20/20, was that the multis are surrounded by, even though these xbows are down, so they're not factored into the attack type, you've got this bank of I think 3 Teslas that you have to worry about. Plus you've got this guy pushing you. And so here they come. And really there's no ADs left. So I mean, like, from Who's Loon's perspective, he's like, dude, all I got, I'm just going to rage the mid here and do 1 freeze. Now, notice he does 1 freeze. He misses the backside eye tower. So I don't know if he would have placed that freeze just a little better, would it have made enough to allow these guys to continue through? Because see, these guys are the ones on this side that did get the freeze benefit, died off early anyway. Would these guys have pushed through and not died? Would have been close. I still think that the 3 Teslas would have factored into it. But notice use of freeze, right, is something that's interesting there. A new factor coming into the attack itself. And then she dies and everything's going to hell in a handbasket. So Who's Loon's now sad. He throws his computer across the room, goes and gets a sandwich. Now here's the man that actually pulls it out, though. Eleazer. He is going to do the same queen walk. I think I speeded it up, if I remember correctly. Maybe I didn't. I guess not. Hold on, let me move forward a little bit. There we go. Now we're moving fast. Okay, so it's all the same up to a certain point, right here, but here's the change coming. So he realized from the prior attacks, the one with who was the first? That was Yip. So he saw with Yip the concentric and circle and converge and overwhelm didn't really work, and he saw that the mass dragons, all the freeze missed. I think he probably was worried as well with, I don't know, would a freeze well placed enabled the dragon? It was too close, right? It was unclear. So what he realized is he's going to go ahead and notice I also didn't talk about both attacks, both Loon and Eleazer. Eleazer is going to take into and use this. Here, let me back up, I guess. He used a little snipe action, which was nice, to realize that that's there for you. So he's there. See how they come in nicely? 2 hogs, bang. So they both multi and converge in the one. So that was a nice, also another base aspect that's kind of weak, but that it leaves you 1 AD, and then he's going to do a very nice line Loon deploy with a Vanguard. And the Vanguard is critical, this guy, because if you don't, your pathing, you want this line to move like this into the base and basically do a broadside, because you're going to try to basically overwhelm, you'll see, the core using free spells and some haste spells to speed up getting into the mid. So he doesn't want that line to compress, which is what it's starting to do. See how it's starting to look that way? But as soon as the Vanguard takes out the cannon, now they all resume their line position. The Vanguards die. They don't do anything. And then nice, look at this nice freeze placement. So he improves off of Loon's freeze placement, gets both ADs. Anytime you've got 2 eye towers on both sides touching the town hall, if you place it exactly right, you can get both. And not only that, he gets the Teslas as well. So at this point, there's really nothing in the base defending. Gives his Loons time to get up into the mid channel. And then here comes his rage. Now his Loons are in position. And you don't have to panic with your Loons against multis. They can survive burn for maybe 3 to 4 seconds. So now he's in there raging. Now he does his final freeze to get his guys onto the towers. And not only does he take out the Tesla farm and 1 eye tower, he almost, look at this. Look at that. How much health is left? Like nothing? That thing's like a whisper and a prayer. So here comes the final phase of the Loon component. Driving in. Really look at what we've got left here. Is a really nice pathing of coming across and then going up in the mid. So he could have modeled that in his mind, knowing, hey, my Loons are going to clear this. It's almost like he had to model 2 tables. He did 2 tables, as I like to call them. So he knew from his 2 tables that he put together that he just had this little wedge left. And so his pathing for his Loons were going to be pretty direct. And that, oh, I forgot about that cannon down there. So it would have been la 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 la. But anyway, pretty direct line. Got some nice minion cleaning on the backside. One wizard and I think 5 minions are kind of out of the range of everything, just kind of making sure we don't run out of time. And I forget from a timing perspective how close this was on time, but notice the pack of, what is that, 5 loons are moving in and just have enough for one loon to survive with, what, 20% health. But I think, let's go back and look at the, let's go back to look at the, I want to see the original time. These. Yeah, he had no time left on the clock. Look at that. 340. Did they increase the town hall 10 times? I thought it was 335. Or wait, this is probably showing the time when he was, before he actually dropped. The timing doesn't start till then. Yeah, so did he go right to the clock? Right, yep, here. There it is, 328. So he had 2 seconds left on his clock. So yeah, so it did matter, that one loon getting to that eye tower, because the other squad wouldn't have been able to turn the corner and get there. So anyway, I hope it helps. I thought it was a very interesting series of attacks, both in terms of the queen walk analysis and then the iterations of different air attacks, leading to a rather unique approach of that line loon taken out with Vanguard, this, so you keep that line, and basically breaking the rules and not really trying to pierce a specific target with a dense pack of loons, but rather get more of that feel you have with hogs, which is 3 distinct pathings in this case come across, and then he uses what often was a malign spell given to Town Hall 9, the freeze, that weak little freeze. When this base is set up this bad, it really makes a difference. I mean, it's so dense right there. That freeze is just killer, because 2 times over, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus his 2 strongest defenses are taken out for 10 seconds. It's a big deal. All right, guys. Good luck in your wars, and we'll talk to you soon.
What am I gonna do? My clan sucks. Hey, it's JTJ.
I think that's an all-out attack.
No, it's the legendary JTJU. 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 What? I like Dragoon. You and this army. Download Clash of Clans for free. Then subscribe to JTJU and win.